to all three teams. You guys did a great job getting here. Okay, right? So this round worked exactly as all the others did. There's no difference. The game will play exactly as it did your first time, second time through. And in the end, we will determine our final placements. Okay. Everybody's set. Let's do a quick buzzer test to make sure everybody's functioning. All right. Good rhythm on that.
That was. Feel the rhythm.
Okay.
And the rhyme.
All right, here do we have substitutes that we will be bringing in? Anybody have substitutes? Maybe? Okay. Don't let me, breeze past you.
It's this game.
Okay. All right, here we go. Game 6, round 1. Starting with world history. Question 1. A 1907 film made about the possibility of this construction project featured the President of France and England's King George VII, but not until 87 years after the film did this project finally open for general use. What underwater transport...
Penn Trafford 3.
The Channel.
That is correct. We'd also set the Channel Tunnel. Question 2, literature. The early 1600s plays the, excuse me, let me rephrase that. The early 1600s plays The Woman Hater and The Noble Gentleman were developed by the team of Beaumont and Fletcher, the only British playwrights of that era whose popularity now even remotely approaches that of...
William Shakespeare?
Wait till you're prompted.
Sorry.
Penn Trafford 2.
William Shakespeare.
Correct. Question 3, American history. This chain, begun by a registered pharmacist, started in Chicago in 1901 and soon became famous for both speedy customer service and for selling hot foods in the wintertime at its soda counter. Name this nationwide drugstore chain that recently sued a grocery store chain for having a capital W logo.
Penn Trafford 4.
Walgreens. Correct. Question number 4, science. The octopus and other cephalopods, the oysters and other bivalves, and the slugs and other gastropods are all included in this largest phylum.
Greensburg-Salem 11.
Mollusk.
Mollusks, correct. Named for having their own foot for moving. Okay. Question 5, potpourri. Films on this site get ratings based on pop.
Greensburg-Salem 10.
Rotten Tomato.
That is correct. Based on popcorn buckets, while its reviewers may consider a good film to be fresh. Identify this website that reviews movies. All right. Question number 6, world history. Perkunas was the sky god of the people of this nation, the last pagan country in Europe to convert to Christianity. Between 1386 and 1795.
Penn Trafford 2.
Lithuania?
Correct. Between 1836 and 1795 formed a union with Poland to dominate much of Eastern Europe. Good. Question 7, literature. Like Dorothy Parker, she was a member of the Algonquin Round Table. She co-wrote several plays with George S. Kaufman, but is now more famous for her stories about Emma McChesney and her novel Cimarron. That became an Oscar-winning film. Named this early 1900s author of the novel Showboat, whose Broadway musical version gave us the song Old Man River.
Greensburg-Salem 11.
Alice Walker.
Incorrect.
Bronte.
Penn Trafford 3.
Bronte.
Incorrect. The correct answer is Edna Ferber. Ferber. All right. Question number 8, American history. After 2 years in the Marines, he tried to defect to the Soviet Union, but came back to the U.S. with his Russian wife, Marina, in 19...
Penn Trafford 4.
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Correct. 1962 and late 63, he was the victim of the first homicide shown live on TV. Jack Ruby killed him in Dallas. All right, question number 9, science. The binary cycle styles of power plant use this type of energy by transferring heat from its original source to another liquid and then turns to steam and...
Norwin 8.
Geothermal.
Correct. Turns to steam and is used to drive a generator turbine. Very good. Question number 10, potpourri. This Broadway musical with the song Beauty School Dropout.
Penn Trafford 2.
Greece.
Grease is the word.
We did that.
All right. That ends that round of toss-up, and we are now on fanfare beginning with Penn Trafford. Okay? Good over here. Here we go. Question 1, contemporary events. What company that filed for bankruptcy in 2018 was a chain of children's products that
Toys.
has opened...
Toys R Us.
Toys R Us is correct. World history. What Russian czar spent 30 years on the job before dying in 1855 during the Crimean War?
Nicholas the First.
Correct. Literature. What humpback Shakespeare title character is visited by the ghosts of those he murdered?
Richard the Third. Richard
Correct.
the Third.
Correct. American history. In 1968, the Democrat Party nominated for president what vice president under Lyndon Johnson, who lost a landslide to Richard Nixon?
Humphrey.
Correct. Science. The Bessemer process blows air through what metal to create steel?
Iron.
Iron is correct. Potpourri. A musical staff using the treble clef has 5 lines and 4 spaces. Counting from the top, tell which note is the first space.
E.
E is correct. All right, that was a clean sweep. Thank you. Fanfare 2 goes to Norwin. Ready? Here we go. Question 1, contemporary events. What company that filed for bankruptcy in 2018 was a chain of bedding products that announced pressure from Casper as one reason its bankruptcy lawyers stayed up nights?
Pass.
World history. During his 43 years as Grand Prince of Moscow, before he died in 1505, the city began to be called the Third Rome. Name this leader whose grandson with the same name made Russia much less happy.
Ivan.
More specific?
Ivan the Great.
Correct. Literature. What uncle of Hamlet murdered Hamlet's father in the Shakespeare play?
Claudius.
Correct. American history. In 1968, what Connecticut university announced it would start admitting women?
Princeton.
Incorrect. Science. Stainless steel is about 90% iron and 10% what metal, whose name comes from the colors it makes in combination with other elements?
Chromium.
Correct. Potpourri. A musical staff using the treble clef has 5 lines and 4 spaces. Counting from the top, tell which note is the second line.
D.
D is correct. The question that we missed, we were looking for Mattress Firm is the company that mentioned Casper as one of its reasons for bankruptcy. The other question that you guys did not get was, in 1968, the Connecticut University announced it was starting admitting women. That was Yale. Got the rest, right? Yes. Okay, very good. Reedsburg-Salem, you're up. Ready? Here we go. Contemporary events. What chain that filed for bankruptcy in 2018 struggled for years even before it got together with Kmart, making major changes or selling off its... Sears, correct. World history. What son of the Russian Tsar who freed the serfs was nicknamed the Peacemaker?
Alexander the First.
Which?
Alexander the First.
Incorrect. Literature. Name the two nasty sisters of Cordelia in Shakespeare's King Lear.
Pass.
American history. In 1968, Jackie Kennedy, widow of John Kennedy, married what Greek shipping tycoon?
Onassis.
Correct. Science. The group of transition metals in the periodic table named for what precious metal include osmium and rhodium?
Chalcedon.
Incorrect. Potpourri. A musical staff using the treble clef has 5 lines and 4 spaces. Counting from the top, tell which note is the third space.
A.
A is correct. The periodic table, we're looking for platinum. Let's see. The name of the two nasty sisters, Goneril and Reagan. It was Alexander the Third. That was the correct answer there. Okay. All right. Round 2. Back to the buzzers. All right. Here we go. Question 1, world history. This country's provinces include North Brabant and Limburg, whose largest city, Maastricht, saw the signing of the treaty that created today's European Union.
Norwin 7.
Luxembourg.
Incorrect.
Greensburg Salem 10.
Belgium.
Incorrect. This country's provinces included North Brabant and Limburg, whose largest city, Maastricht, saw the signing of the treaty that created today's European Union. Name this country, bordered on the east by Germany and on the south by Belgium, where dikes keep the land from being inundated by the North Sea.
Penn Trafford 3.
The Netherlands.
The Netherlands is correct. It would also accept Holland. Question 2, literature. This novel includes the prankster named Tommy Bangs and the boy named Nat, who plays the violin. Girls in this novel include Nan Harding and Daisy Brooke, who is the niece of school owners Friedrich and Joe Baer. Name this novel by Louisa May Alcott.
Greensburg Salem 10.
Little Women.
It's incorrect.
Penn Trafford 1.
Joe's Boys.
Incorrect. This,
Is there more to the question?
yes, this novel includes the prankster named Tommy Bangs and the boy named Nat, who plays the violin. Girls in this novel include Nan Harding and Daisy Brooke, who is the niece of school owners Friedrich and Joe Baer. Name this novel by Louisa May Alcott, subtitled Life at Plumfield with Joe's Boys, and a sequel to Little Women.
Norwin 7.
Little Women 2.
Even littler.
Incorrect. It's actually Little Men.
You get another book
I
called.
heard you say that. All right. Question 3, American history. Signed 9 months before the Pearl Harbor attack, this act of Congress enabled Franklin Roosevelt to send weapons to...
Penn Trafford 2.
The Lend-Lease Agreement.
Correct. Right. Allowed them to send American World War II materials to Russia, England, and other countries without requiring those countries to pay for it. Question 4, science. Its moons, Himalaya and Calero, are named for females in myth who slept with Zeus. Large groups.
Greensburg Salem 9.
Jupiter.
Jupiter is correct. All right, potpourri, question 5. John Hicks names a function of this quantity. The Slutsky equation that changes in this quantity as a result of changing an object's price are caused by a substitution effect and an income effect. Name this basic quantity of economics.
Greensburg-Salem 10.
Elasticity.
Incorrect. John Hicks names a function of this quantity. The Slutsky equation says that changes in this quantity as a result of changing an object's price are caused by a substitution effect and an income effect. Name this basic quantity of economics that typically decreases as supply.
Norwin 5.
Demand.
Demand is correct. Question 6, world history. Lal Chandri, Vishwanath Singh, and Atal Vajpayee were all 20th century men who served in what specific elected post that was also held by Rajiv Gandhi and his assassinated mother, Indira?
Greensburg-Salem 10.
Prime Minister of India.
Correct. Correct. Question 7, literature. Author Isaac Asimov distinguished this genre from fantasy by saying that.
Norwin 7.
Dystopian.
Incorrect.
Penn Trafford 2.
Science fiction.
What do you say, Judge?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes. Actually, the sci-fi was the answer that was indicated. It also listed science fiction novels, but we will accept.
Thank you, Chuck.
Okay, question 8, American history. This city was the first in U.S. history to be charged with securities fraud. Its suburbs include Camp Hill and New Cumberland.
Greensburg-Salem 11.
Boston.
Incorrect. This city was the first in U.S. history to be charged with securities fraud.
Penn Trafford 3.
Harrisburg.
Harrisburg is correct. Yeah, history to be charged with securities fraud. Its suburbs include Camp Hill and New Cumberland. Cities near this state capital include Lancaster, Lebanon, Hershey, home of Hershey chocolate. And, yeah, you would have gotten this one longer. Question 9, science. He was so proud of figuring out how the formulas for the surface area and volume of a sphere relate to a cylinder that he wanted the picture of a sphere within a cylinder on his gravestone. Identify this scientist of ancient Greece whose machine for lift.
Penn Trafford 1.
Archimedes.
Archimedes is correct. Question 10, potpourri. Often heated by natural gas, this device may have a glass cooktop if heated by electricity. Its burners allow multiple foods.
Penn Trafford 3.
Stove.
Stove is correct, or range. Okay, that's the end of that toss-up. Back to the fanfare. Penn Trafford, you're up. Ready? Here we go. Contemporary events. The 2018 voting controversy in Florida included the U.S. Senate race between incumbent Bill Nelson and what former Florida governor who finally defeated Nelson?
Scott.
Correct. World history. Called Optimus Princeps the best ruler by the Roman Senate, the Roman Empire's largest boundary came during what ruler's life that ended in 117 AD?
Octavian.
Incorrect. Literature. Author F. Scott Fitzgerald was born in what Midwestern state? Just as fellow author Sinclair Lewis.
Illinois.
Incorrect. American history. Complete the name of this company broken up in the early 1900s by the Sherman Antitrust Act. Northern blank company.
Standard Oil.
Incorrect. Science. The Milky Way galaxy has 4 major arms. One is named for what zodiac archer?
Sagittarius.
Correct. Potpourri. After spending time in St. Petersburg, Russia, and flunking out of West Point, American artist James Whistler went to what European capital in the 1850s, home of many artists before and since? 3 seconds to answer.
Paris.
Correct. Let's see, we had, Secretary, the name of the company broken up in the early 1900s by Sherman Antitrust was the Northern Securities Company. Arthur Scott Fitzgerald was born in Minnesota. Called Optimus Princeps, the best ruler. This ruler's name was Trey Jung. And then Rick Scott, did we get that one?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Penn Trafford. On to Norway. Ready? Question 1. The 2018 voting controversy in Florida was caused in large part by what chief election supervisor in Broward County, Florida, who resigned soon after?
Pass.
Question 2, world history. What man who took office in 27 BC became the first emperor of the Roman Empire?
Octavius Caesar.
Incorrect. Literature. F. Scott Fitzgerald's 1922 collection of short stories is called Tales of what age?
Golden.
Incorrect. American history. Complete the name of this company broken up in the early 1900s by the Sherman Antitrust Act. Standard blank oil. Stop.
Stop.
I blew the question. So I need to do a substitute question for you guys there. Equal questions.
Doesn't matter which round.
Impossible. Thank you. That's my fault. And I, every now and again, a word slips where it shouldn't.
Are we doing round 7? Then we can pull from there, yeah.
Yes. Am I gonna restart after you read the question?
Yes.
That was number 4, American history.
Perfect.
American history. Here we go. Charles Lindbergh was chosen the first ever Man of the Year by what still running magazine?
Time.
Correct. Question 5, science. One arm of the Milky Way is named for what man of myth who beheaded Medusa and married Andromeda?
Perseus.
Correct. Potpourri. American artist James Whistler won a libel suit against critic John Ruskin for Ruskin's opinion of what Whistler painting, but only received 1 British farthing as damages. Okay. The answer we were looking for was the falling rocket. Answer Venice.
Two.
Is that what you had?
Yes, that's what I had as well. Do you want me to take it?
Yes, thank you. Going back to the questions you guys missed, you're looking for Brenda Snipes in the 2018 voting controversy. It was Octavian or Caesar Augustus, so the wordage had to be right there. Literature, it was Tales of the Jazz Age, and I think that was it, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, moving on to Greensburg, Salem. Ready? Here we go. Contemporary events. The Florida controversy in the 2000 election between Bush and Gore gave us what term for the tiny pieces of paper punched out of a ballot when a selection is made?
Ballot.
Incorrect. World history. In 68 AD, who was the first Roman emperor to take his own life?
Claudius.
Incorrect. Literature. F. Scott Fitzgerald's novel, The Side of Paradise, was written before what best-known novel of his?
The Great Gatsby.
Correct. American history. Complete the name of this company broken up in the early 1900s by the Sherman Antitrust Act. American blank company.
Steel.
Incorrect. Science. The Perseus arm of the Milky Way contains what nautical nebula? The first entry in Meiser's astronomical catalog.
Pass.
Potpourri. In the 1880s, American artist James Whistler did 2 sets of etchings of scenes in what Italian city, including one etching of its downtown Rialto area?
Milan.
Incorrect. It's Venice. We were looking for, in the Milky Way, it was the Crab Nebula. It was the American Tobacco Company. Nero was the first emperor to take his own life. And the paper punched out of the ballot when the selection is made is Chad. Also referred to back as the hanging Chad controversy that was when that episode was taking place.
They're tied.
Chad for second and third. Okay. All right, so we have a tiebreaker question.
Is it just one?
I'm guessing.
So Greensburg or Penn Trafford, you're out of this one.
Are they buzzing on this one?
This is a 15. This is like that's not a question. Okay. So on the buzzer.
Okay, we're gonna buzz.
On the buzzer.
Sudden death.
Okay. You ready? Here we go. This is a geography question. Cities in the eastern part of this state include Tahlequah and Broken Bow, while Goodwell and Knowles are among the towns in its far west panhandle.
Greensburg, Salem, 9.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma is All right. Congratulations. Great job, everybody. Excellent job. You guys impress me. Every time we do this, this is always a very impressive thing for us to be a part of. And thank you for coming out here and doing this today. We do want to get some pictures of the teams before you guys go. And I think the best place for us to do that is probably in this room. And why don't we just kind of clear a space right here, and we'll bring each team up and do photos, okay? And we'll do that. Advisors, if you would be with your team as well, that would be great.
Rachel was taking them one by one. So she has them all. And
Here's all of my stuff.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Give that over. Confirmation that everything is.
Yeah. And then,